Okay, so I thought I'd just give a quick run through of the new UI so y'all know how to make picks once the time comes. So I'm on my development environment right now. If you just log in, you can see on the left panel here the lines table is published. There's not text field forms anymore. These are clickable forms. So when you want to make a pick, you just click on the team image in the lines table. Your selection will appear here at the bottom of the table in this dotted area. So if you click on two teams, you can see them both show up there. If you want to clear those out, just hit the clear button. You can change your pick up there. Once you are ready to submit your pick, you click the submit button, and a order are you sure or a confirmation step is put to the screen. So this is the last point before you can actually submit your pick. So after you click submit here, they're in and they can't be changed. If you hit cancel, you can go back and clear out the form and make new picks if you want. So again, there's a bunch of error checking on the picks just to make sure that you're not picking teams from the same game. So if you try to pick two teams from the same game, an error message will pop up. If you try to pick from a game that your opponent already picked from, so you can see my non-picks are Dallas and Denver. That means my opponent picked San Francisco and Indy. So if I try to pick either of those teams, I'll get hit with an error message. In the first row on this table, I set the time for the game start to be way in the past. So if you try to pick a team from a game that has already started, you'll get hit with an error message also. If you try to pick, if you are sitting here on this modal screen and the line changes while you're on the modal, you'll get hit with an error message as well. So let me just go in the database and change the line. So I'm going to change the line on that Pittsburgh game to 6.5. So let's see, 6.5 there. So the line in the system is 6.5. So if I try to send a pick with the old line, it'll hit me with an error message. One or more of the lines have changed. Please repick. So it's just like a regular sports book. You can make your pick at any time. Whatever pick you make, you're locked in at that line. So if the line moves or goes up and down or whatever, you still have the pick that you made. The lines themselves are published from an offshore sports book. So these are live lines that are being used in real bets. So they're being updated automatically. If you so after you make a pick, you submit your picks, you'd be sent an email confirmation of your pick. You're also sent an email when your opponent makes a pick. Your picks and your non-picks are going to be displayed in this center column. And then on the right column, this is where you can see information about the league. So the first tab here, matchups, current week matchups. This is just the player matchups for the current week. The full schedule tab is the full season schedule. The top part is the played matchups already. So on this development environment, I ran through a few test weeks just so I could have data here to demonstrate. So right now I'm at week 3 in my test site. So that means week 1 and 2 has the past data pushed on this page. So you can see the home player, the away player as well, how many points that player scored that week. Future matchups, if you scroll down, you can see just the full schedule for the year. The picks tab, this is picks for the current week. So you can see the top guy is the home guy, the bottom guy is the away guy. Their picks are on the left side, their non-picks are on the right side, so this is just whatever pick that player has made this week. Picks by team, I'm going to switch up how these are displayed. I'll probably switch to this style image of just the letters and make them bigger, but the same functionality will be the same here. It's going to be organized by team, so it's just the number of times that team has been picked that week. Underneath each team image, you can see P colon, a number, and then NP colon, a number. The P row is the number of picks on that team. The NP row is the number of non-picks on that team. And this whole panel will be organized by picks descending. So the first team here would be the team that was selected the most that week. If you mouse over the team image, a tooltip will pop up that will show you the player that made that pick, as well as the line that they got the pick at. So you can see how many guys are taking San Francisco this week and what line they got them at. Standings tab, this will show you overall, quarterly, and weekly standings for the league. So overall standings, pretty self-explanatory, just total up to that point. Quarterly standings, so this is, now that we have a quarterly payout, this is where you can monitor your quarterly performance. And then standings by week, this is where you can see your performance for that week, as well as your performance for past weeks. If you go to the first panel that'll pop up will be the current week. So right now, week 3 is what shows. At the top here, you can see all the players or all the teams, the number of pick wins, non-pick wins, pick losses, pick pushes, non-pick pushes, and points that they scored during the week. And then the final scores that have been posted for that week as well. So, I upload the final scores after the game is completed. I'm always really fast about it. I sit around and do nothing but watch football on Sunday, so the scores will be up pretty fast after the game's over. If you click on any of these other weekly buttons here, you can see your performance in that past week. So on this example, we can see week 2 standings, all of the players and how they performed that week, the final scores in the actual NFL games that were posted that week, as well as the matchup results for that week. So in this little table here, the color-coded teams represent things. So the bold teams are your picks, and the non-bold are your non-picks. Red is a loss, green is a win, and black is a push. So the way to interpret this table here, this player had 2 picks, Chicago -6 and Cincy plus 2.5, and they were both losses. And the 2 non-picks, Philly -11 was a win, and Cleveland +6 was a loss. So you can see, if someone has all green, that means they got an ace for that week. 14 points is the most points you can score in a single week. So if you ace someone, you're doing really well. That's how you can really start to put distance between you and some other guys. So, another example here, the bold black, that's a pick push. Non-bold black, that's a non-pick push. The stats tab has been reorganized a little bit. The graphs area, so this is total points over time. And when you first navigate to the graph, only you and the overall league leader will be displayed on the graph at that time. So you can see how you are performing against the overall leader, how much you have to go to catch them. The graph library that I use is really neat, so you can mouse over any of these data points and get more info. You can click on any of the players on the legend on the right to add or remove more plots to the graph. And I'll probably add some other data elements that can be plotted here, so we can plot things like pick wins and stuff like that. Pick performance. So this is just statistics about how people's picks are doing that year. Pick win, pick loss, pretty self-explanatory. Just total pick win, pick loss for the season by player. Non-pick win, non-pick loss. Total non-pick win, non-pick loss for the season by player. Pick performance. So this is the number of weeks where the player had 2 pick wins, 1 pick win, or no pick wins. So you can see who's kind of nailing their 2 pick win weeks and stuff like that. This pick performance stat, coupled with these other 2 tables, can give you a good picture of kind of who's getting lucky and who's doing well. Because if you see someone with low pick wins, high non-pick wins, and really average pick performance, then they're probably getting super, super lucky. If you have someone with high pick wins, really low non-pick wins, and high pick performance or middle of the ground pick performance, that means they're kind of getting screwed a little bit. The variance in this league really comes from those non-picks. At least 1 or 2 players over the past couple years have picked really, really well. I mean, 60% plus on their personal picks. But they just got so unlucky with non-picks that they didn't make the money at all at the end of the season. So the variance is a fun thing to observe. not fun for me because I was that guy last year. I think Matt was the guy the year before me. So, pick trends. So this is statistics about just what types of things people are picking. Some of them might be totally useless statistics. I'm not even really sure. So pick type percentage. Percentage of players' picks that were favorites, underdogs, or even. So you can see, if you're matched up against a guy who really likes to lay it on the dogs, maybe you can beat him to the punch and pick the highest point spread for that week or something like that. So all this data can be used to just sort of, temper your strategy as you're starting to progress through the league. Your strategy should get a lot more advanced by the time the payout weeks come along. People are really starting to stare at other players through the corner of their eyes and observe what they're doing and try to think ahead and stuff like that. Home team pick percentage. So percentage of players' picks that were on the home NFL team. Average spread taken. Average spread of all players' picks. Probably totally useless, meaningless statistic. Pick record when home. Number of pick wins, pick losses, and pick pushes when that player is home in their matchup. Pick record when away. Number of pick wins, pick losses, and pick pushes when that player is away in their matchup. And then times team picked. The number of times the NFL team has been picked by a player this season. So I'll probably add some more data to this chart or to this table to say if you mouse over the team, it'll show you the number of. It'll break it down by player, so you can see. Arthur's picking San Francisco every week. Maybe I should stick him with the other side when I make my pick against him or something like that. I also linked to the rules section in the top nav. This error will not appear on the production site. But if you ever need a quick reference for how things are scored or whatever, you can just look this up. The scoring has not changed at all since year 2. So all the same, point values are the same. Pick win, pick loss, all this stuff, all the scoring is the exact same. The only thing we tweaked this year was we changed tiebreaks 3+, and we of course did the quarterly payout. So we added $25 per person for a side pot that's awarded quarterly. The tiebreaks are very self-explanatory. I mean, none of the 3 above, we just switched it for real fringe cases that could potentially happen. We've never gotten above tiebreak 2 in the 3 years that we've run this league. But having it out to 6 just ensures that there's no confusion or anything towards the end of the season. So the only one that really needs a little bit of clarification would be this total pick correctness one. It's explained below. There's a bunch of examples here so you can see what it means. But essentially, pick correctness, think goal differential in soccer. So it's just like an aggregate value of how your picks are performing against the final score of the NFL game. So yeah, that's pretty much all the changes for this year. We have a bunch of players this year. It's going to be a big pot. It should be really fun around the payout times. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll send this YouTube link out to everyone in the email chain.